Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Tabron. I'm the Product Marketing Manager for SUSE Linux Enterprise Server for SAP applications, as well as SUSE solutions just in general. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about digital transformation. Now, you've probably heard a lot about digital transformation this week. I'm just going to kind of level set, and let's go with an IDC definition of digital transformation. They define digital transformation as this continuous process by which enterprises are either adapting to or disrupting the changes in their customers and their markets by leveraging digital technologies in order to either build new business models, to create new products, or to create new solutions. Now, nowhere in that definition was there any mention of infrastructure or products or how to get infrastructure and solutions going. But what I'm going to do is talk to you about how SUSE can help with that. So this is kind of the problem that we have right now in the marketplace today. Mobile users and the fact that we have so many IoT devices out there and the prevalence of public cloud have really reset the expectations of consumers just in general. With mobile devices, you can get instant access to whatever information you want, whenever you want it. You can get it the way that you want it. You can get it in a way that is customized and personalized, specific for your needs and your desires. IoT devices are providing information immediately about where an item is, what the status of an object is. And cloud has grown from just a place where you put your music to a place where you can get instant access to IT resources. So now with all this requirement and expectations of instant access, customers are expecting the same thing from your businesses. They want 24/7 access and connectivity to your business. They want to be able to get to it to multiple channels. They want to be able to have this personalized experience in working with your business. So as a result, the lines of business who are trying to attract these customers, who are trying to retain these customers, have similar unrealistic expectations. They think that 70% of, basically 70% of end users think that they should be able to roll out a new service or a new operation in just a couple of weeks. No big deal. Meanwhile, Gartner says that 70% of 40% of IT managers say that the thing that's really holding them back from achieving the goals of the business are slow manual processes. Now, SAP has started doing their part from a solutions perspective as far as the ERP, the CRM applications, basically by building what they call the digital core around SAP S/4HANA. And basically what this means is things get simpler in terms of the way data is managed. You don't have separate data silos now for transactional data versus analytics data. You can share data now across applications as well as across different organizations. And you're leveraging the SAP HANA platform in order to do that. So instead of having separate databases for each application, then a data warehouse where you put pieces of that data, and then you have to have yet another relational database if you want to do analytics, Everything is combined and much simpler in SAP HANA. You're also eliminating the need to do really complex things in terms of aggregates and indexing in terms of the analytics. There's one common interface, there's one operating system, that's Linux. As you've heard them say, they are an open source company now. And that means they're running everything on Linux. One area where you get a lot of flexibility, however, is in where you deploy it and how you deploy it. You have the choice of deploying on-premise, in the cloud, or some combination of those. So what we're going to talk about now is that next level down in terms of the infrastructure and how SUSE can help you to be much more agile in terms of, and more efficient in terms of deploying SAP applications, reducing your costs, and also making sure that those applications are always available to the business lines that need them. And this is really our vision for how this is going to be done. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this architecture diagram, but just basically to describe the expectation and what we believe, how we believe open source can help with this. And you'll see in here various open source technologies as well as some of the products we have. Starting first with your physical infrastructure, that's going to be what you have today in terms of switches, networking switches, your servers, your storage devices. You shouldn't have to throw out what you have in order to build a new infrastructure that can support the changing needs of the business. On top of that, your operating system, and then you want to make everything software defined. You really want to abstract the hardware from the application. So leveraging virtualization to make your compute more software defined. Software defined storage, leveraging technologies like Ceph, and software defined networking as well. So you're really treating the entire infrastructure as if it were one system and determining where the applications are best going to be installed. Then in terms of deployment, leveraging technologies like containers and cloud, both private cloud as well as public cloud. And then again, treating all of this as one entity that can be managed consistently, rather than having individual management tools for each of the individual components of the system. So now, let's talk about those three key areas where SUSE can help in terms of starting first with agility. Typically, when people think of having a more agile SAP system environment, they think about the cloud. But one of the things that we focused on, because we expect that you're going to want to do some things on premise as well, is speeding up that process of getting SAP applications up and running. So our installation process for SAP applications not only installs the operating system, it also helps install the entire SAP stack, including SAP HANA, including the high availability solution that goes with that stack. We have support for TDI, tailored data center integrations, as well as support for getting your appliances configured. We have easy graphical user interfaces. This is all about making the life much easier for the IT organization and the IT staff that needs to set these things up and get them running as quickly as possible. But if you are ready to go to the cloud, then we have great partnerships with both Microsoft and with Amazon. For Amazon Web Services, you have the option to either have on-demand services or bring your own subscription. And there are images of Celeste for SAP applications as well as SAP solutions that are available in the marketplace. Similarly, with Microsoft Azure, you can bring your own subscription, and there are images that are available, including SAP HANA, in their application library. Just this week, we also announced that we are, it was just announced that we are the exclusive Linux for Google Cloud as well for SAP applications in SAP HANA. So we've really got the major bases covered there with the partnerships that we have. And in every case, you get that same value proposition in terms of being able to get the high performance you need to make sure that people have immediate access to their data, that it's reliable, and I'll talk a little bit more about reducing downtime and reliability in just a moment. And then also we have special optimizations for SAP HANA, specific things that we include with our solution. Again, not just an operating system, but really a platform for SAP environments. And I'll spend a little bit more time on that in just a minute as well. If you want total control, if you want to maintain you want the flexibility that you get with cloud, but you want to keep it all inside, then SUSE OpenStack Cloud's a great way to do that. In fact, SUSE OpenStack Cloud is the platform that is used by SAP Cloud Platform. So they're using SUSE products, both the SLES for SAP applications as well as SUSE Enterprise Cloud for their own solutions, the services they deliver. So it's really going to help you to streamline and automate the deployment and make all of those processes much faster. We've got a customer reference that's in process right now. I can't tell you the name of them right now until it's published, but it's a service provider in Europe. And what they've determined is that by leveraging this solution, they've got it deployed and up and running now. And what used to take 2 or 3 days to get a single SAP server up and running, they can get it now done in 2 or 3 hours. Really complex SAP systems used to take 40 to 60 days. They can now get that done in 2 or 3 days. So you can imagine as a service provider, you've got customers coming in, hopefully all the time, and you want to get them up and running and start generating that revenue for yourself as quickly as possible. So whether on premise or in the cloud, SUSE can help you with that. Okay, now let's talk about reducing costs. Purely by the nature of open source, you're getting a lot of advantages, and this is one of the reasons I'm sure that SAP has been focusing much more on open source, the open source community. You're getting much better quality and security as well as fast innovation because you've got so many people out there who are developing new ideas, they are finding problems, they're fixing problems, and sharing all of that with the community. You get lower costs because you don't have to pay for a software license, you're just paying for the subscription to support. That's typically what people do. They could support it on their own, they have that option, but most people like to work with a company like SUSE in order to get the latest updates, the latest innovations, and to be able to make sure any security patches are available as quickly as possible. And no vendor lock-in. If you're working with truly open source solutions that have all the common APIs that are defined by the community, then you have no worries. If you decide that you don't like this particular product and you want to switch it out for a different one, it should be pretty seamless, pretty straightforward to do it. You do have to be careful though of some solutions that are built on open source technologies but are not really open. Management, that's another issue that is facing IT organizations right now in terms of having to deal with manual processes in order to keep up with which servers need to be updated, to be able to keep up with actually performing those updates. And that's an area that SUSE Manager helps out with significantly. So whether you're talking about configuring your systems, whether you're talking about installing them, talking about updating them, make sure they're compliant in terms of whatever your internal IT requirements are, as well as security requirements, then that's SUSE Manager can help with that. In fact, one of the things we started doing with SUSE Linux Enterprise Server for SAP applications is starting to integrate the installation wizard that we have with SLES for SAP applications so that you have one single pane of glass to do configuration, installation, deployment, and management. Okay. It's not advancing. Okay. Another area that we help is in terms of the capabilities that we are adding to SLES for SAP applications to help ease that transition from IT organizations that were perhaps working in Windows environments with Windows Server and moving on to working with the Linux environment, because as you know, that's the direction of SAP. Everything will be running on Linux, no other operating systems. So we're including some capabilities to help to improve that productivity, help them get up and running as quickly as possible. We're providing a very familiar environment for them to work with in working with their Linux environment for SAP, with a remote desktop. Enhanced Active Directory integration saves the time and effort of having to recreate IDs and passwords, so we can leverage the existing Microsoft Active Directory. And then there are a couple of other little things we're providing too in terms of like a little cheat sheet for commonly used commands. And most importantly, we provide training. We have some training available online as well as in person depending on specific locations that you can take advantage of. Okay, and then in terms of high availability, that's another area that is critically important You want to make sure that business lines have access to the data they need and the transactions that they need 24/7. And that's one of the areas that we focus on with our SUSE Linux Enterprise Server for SAP applications. We include a full high availability disaster recovery solution. And we put it in there in a way that's very easy to set up. So whether you're talking about physical devices, virtual devices, combinations of the two, you can very easily set all of that up with the built-in high availability solution. And any combination of those. Also, you can include setting up the high availability for SAP HANA. Most of you know that SAP HANA was designed with the idea that it can automatically fail over the in-memory data over to a backup system. What you may not know is that by default that's a manual process. So it could literally take hours to get that data up and running, and that's assuming somebody happens to notice that the server went down. But with our automated process, we switch everything over automatically, saving a tremendous amount of time. So that's a unique innovation that we developed working very closely with SAP, and then of course shared it with the open source community so that others could pick it up. Other capabilities that we have, we're adding to. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I think I'm running a little short on time. But the SAP HANA Firewall, that's a specific feature that we provide. We make it very easy to set up, either with an automated process or with a wizard where you can step through and choose the options that we'll give you suggestions for the options that make the most sense, but you can always change them if you choose to, based on your specific environment. And then some advanced encryption management. We're actually providing a remote server key, so that if you have remote volumes of data in a data center somewhere and you have to restart the servers, you don't have to entrust people perhaps that don't even work for your company with the encryption keys to get the data up and running. You can have that all happen automatically. And then live patching. This is one of my favorite topics. You never have to, with live patching, you don't have to make this awful choice between, do I take down my systems and impact my business, or do I let this security bug continue to threaten my business? With live patching, you're able to actually patch the servers that need to be patched, and you don't have to worry about taking the system down, at least not immediately. All of your lines of business continue to run without any slowdowns, without any hiccups at all. And as long as over the course of the next year you have a maintenance window, then go ahead and reboot that server. But it's a tremendous saver in terms of your business opportunity, in terms of your business lines, as well as your IT staff not having to stop and reset to work on a security problem. So, are you ready to transform? There are a lot of issues that you're having to deal with that we've talked about. Okay, so these are some of the issues that we've talked about in terms of performance, in terms of maintaining high levels of availability, in terms of getting systems up and running as quickly as possible. But we're here to help. We've got experts behind me, literally behind me, who can talk to you about how to get your systems up and running as quickly as possible, help you to reduce cost and understand the value of open source, as well as to make sure that you can maintain high levels of availability. I'll also encourage you to visit our partners. We have some great partnerships. Some of these are actually available for evaluation through our SUSE Connect program, through the SUSE Linux Enterprise Server application. So please be sure to visit them and talk to them as well.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, come on in, Lauren. Let's give away some backpacks. Here we go, the moment you've been waiting for.